I've been banging on about a video that's going to change the entire collection and the way the series is going, and this is the video. So if you don't like the sound of my voice, I do apologise, because that's pretty much all you're going to hear for the next XX amount of time. This is probably going to be a long one. I do have something massive to show off. Not what you're thinking. Get your mind out of the gutter. That is strictly for my OnlyFans. If you want a link, there isn't one. Not yet anyway. Depends how difficult times get, I suppose. But in this video, I am going to outline the change I want to make, and I do have something to show you, which I've spent a lot of money on. I'm very happy, although I haven't opened it yet, so for all I know it's in pieces. But while I was out for a run the other day, I had somewhat of an epiphany. It was like clarity all of a sudden. I knew what I wanted to do, I just needed to work out how to execute it. And for that, I needed to go all the way back to the beginning of my collection to think about what I collected and why, and then I needed to sort it all out. So when I first started doing these videos, I thought being a video game collector meant that I had to collect anything and everything. If I see a cheap video game, well, I need it, and I need to put it into the collection, despite the fact that I might not even care about it. When I first started, I was buying PlayStation 2 games, Xbox 360 games, I started buying PlayStation 3 games, and I had a PS3 console. I bought a Wii, and I bought a Wii U, and I had loads of games for all of it, and I didn't care about 90% of it, because I don't have any affiliation with it. There's no nostalgia there for me. Yes, I had a Wii once upon a time, didn't particularly like it then. It's good for a quick gimmick, but that's about it. And I didn't have a Wii U, and I thought, well, it's trendy to collect for it now, because everyone's making these videos about now is the time to collect for the Wii U, it's going to go up in price over time, blah blah blah. I needed to get on that bandwagon. Why? I don't know. I've probably played the Wii U about, I don't know, 2 hours collectively throughout the entire time I've owned it, and I've probably had it for about 2-3 years at this point. So I went back in my life. What consoles do I love? What consoles do I have massive nostalgia for? And what do I want to play today, and why? Well, we did have Commodore 64s and Spectrums growing up, but I was a little bit too young for that, so my first major console was a Sega Mega Drive. For one reason or another, we had the Mark 1, we had the 2, and then of course I had the 3. It's not called the 3, but it was the Sega CD like combination thing. That console's very expensive now, and I have no idea what happened to mine. I asked my dad what happened to it, and he shrugged his shoulders. Either way, I loved it, and that's why I started collecting for the Mega Drive in the first place. I have very fond memories of it. Haven't bought a Mega Drive game in a long time, and there are maybe 5 or 6 that I absolutely loved and want. Cannon Fodder being one of them, Outrun being another, and there are a few others on the system I'd like to pick up over time. Although I am kind of happy with where my collection is right now, and that's one system ticked off. Well, we move along through the other systems, and I did have a SNES, and I did have a PS1 once upon a time. My second major console was a Sega Saturn. My dad begged me to choose a PlayStation for Christmas that year, but Curry's had Worldwide Soccer 97 on display, and I was playing that for a long time, and that's what really pushed me to want to get it. That and the fact that it was a Sega and I was coming from a Sega Mega Drive. My brain probably thought, well, I have to go for this one, despite the fact that this grown-up who knows more than I do is telling me to buy the better system.
What the hell was that?
And I made the mistake, I suppose. I still stand by it today because I got to experience Die Hard Arcade, which I probably wouldn't have played if I went with a PlayStation, because of course that game doesn't exist on the PlayStation, and no one else I've ever met has owned a Sega Saturn. I don't have massive nostalgia for the console, despite the fact that I did play it solidly for a good few years. I mainly played sports games together with Die Hard Arcade on it, so at some point I would like to pick up a Saturn, copy of Die Hard Arcade and a couple of other titles mixed in, but that's kind of on the back burner. Then of course we come to the N64, which was my next major console. Now I absolutely want one. I had one a long time ago in this series, and I did end up selling it. I had a couple of issues with it, and I sold it off cheaper than I normally would. I don't even think I mentioned it in the series. That was back in series 1, if you will. This whole thing is one continuation, but I did label it 1 and 2 because I kind of half finished it at one point, decided no, I actually want to continue this. And that is a system I will buy into again in the future, but once again, like the Sega Saturn, it's on the back burner because I'm kind of coming around to the fact that I know I'm going to have to collect cartridge only because cardboard just costs too much money. My next major system was a PS2, and despite the fact that I spent many years and a lot of hours pumping into games on that system, and I have very fond memories of playing a lot of games, for some reason I don't really care to collect for it. I don't know what it is, I just can't bring myself to want to sit down and play it. It's just not something I want to do. So again, I think I'm only going to collect the odd game. I probably have most of the the games I want on that console anyway when it comes to things like GTAs, Gran Turismos. I think I have my Burnouts as well. So there probably aren't that many more games I want on the system, but maybe over time I might pick up the odd one. And then of course we come to the Xbox 360, which I've dived right into. I did try and collect for PS3, but I have zero desire to play any of the games, even the exclusive Resistance, for example, or Little Big Planet. I just don't care because I never played them, and I don't really have much of any interest in them either. And that brings me into the 8th generation, which I'll talk about in a second, but let me just backtrack a second here. So I have a Wii and a Wii U, or should I say I had a Wii and I had a Wii U. I picked up a Wii U bundle a long time ago in this series and it was incredible. It came boxed, it had games with it, and it had 4 Wii remotes that all had Wii Motion Plus, and they were all different colours. And I remember trading maybe 1 or 2 of them in, selling the rest. I sold a few of the accessories and the games that came with it, and it paid for the entire thing. It cost me about 70, I think, maybe 50, 70, somewhere in that region. If I can find any of the footage when I first picked that up, I'll put it in. If you've been watching for a long time, you will have remembered me picking it up. It's paid for itself, much as everything else has in this series by now, but I, like I said, played it maybe once or twice the entire time I had it. I did build up a decent-ish collection, but I just don't have any interest in it. I bought into it because it was the thing to do. I jumped on the bandwagon. And if you are looking for a console that will be worth something over time and the games will go up in price, I still think the Wii U is the system to collect for. If you don't care about buying into a system you want to play and you just want it for financial gain, that would probably be where I would put my money. But I want to play the games and I don't care about the Wii U, so I've done the unthinkable. And I did this a long time ago. I sold my entire Wii U collection because I want to refocus in one specific area. So as I sold this a long time ago, I don't quite remember how much I got for it. If I can find the sale, the listing, and how much I got for it, I'll put it on screen. I think it was somewhere in the region of 150 for the games and the console boxed, and I sold maybe 1 or 2 of the games separately. Mario Color Splash, for example, I know that's like a £20 game separately, so I wouldn't have bundled that with a machine. Probably sold that separately on Vinted or something. Like I said, if I can find these listings, I will put them on screen for you, and I'm actually going to add that to the total cash that we have in the series because, well, I own the Wii U, and why wouldn't I do that? Side note, in the last video, I did actually mention that I've screwed up the CEX credit that I have. I think I have like 27 that you can see on screen right now, and when I looked at my wallet the other day, I had 47, and that was after I'd bought everything that you saw in the last video. I've no idea how it happened. I'm not just going to flick my fingers here and change the figure on screen. I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to try and work out what happened, but just note for right now anyway, the CEX credit doesn't really mean anything because it's wrong somehow. Anyway, Wii U is sold off. That is something else that I didn't think I was allowed to do when I first started building my collection. I thought, well, I've got it now, it's in the collection, I can't sell it because who sells part of their collection? I've seen a lot of people talking recently actually that they want to downsize, and it's not that I want to downsize, I just want to refocus. And like I said, that brings me into the 8th generation, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and then of course into the 9th with the PlayStation 5. I have PS4 games, I have PS5 games. I've played a fair few, not really to completion, maybe the odd one, but for some reason after a while, I don't know, my mind just sort of gravitates towards something else, I lose interest or whatever. I'm not sure why, but I don't really see these games through. Sifu is the only PlayStation 5 game that I can actually think of that I finished in recent times. I honestly can't think of another one. I lost interest in Star Trek Resurgence for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I actually really wanted to know what happened at the end of it, but for some reason I can't bring myself to finish it. Even the Turtles collection games, you know, the Cowabunga collection and Shredder's Revenge, I didn't actually finish them, I don't think. I got quite close in one case with Shredder's Revenge, but I just stopped playing it. But recently, I've been playing a lot of the Xbox 360, and I'm having the opposite feeling. I want to continue to play it, to the point where the last video took a long time to come out, because it took a lot of editing, sure, but because I was playing an awful lot of 360 and I couldn't stop playing. I'm working my way through Medal of Honor, I'm playing Summer Stars, I'm of course playing Midnight Club, which I picked up in the last video, and I've just bought a few other games that I really want to get going with, but of course I do kind of want to finish those games that I'm playing. I've got my fingers in a lot of pies. So why? What's the difference between playing an Xbox 360 and a PS4? Surely the PS4's got better graphics, they run better, they've got bigger and better stories and open worlds and all the rest of it. Surely you'd want to play that over the 360. Well, maybe. I know this is going to sound stupid to a lot of people. One of the big draws for me personally for the 360, and the thing I loved when I played it when it first came out and why I stuck with it all that time, achievements. I was absolutely 100% addicted to achievements back in the day. Loved it. I've played some stupid games just to get achievements. Hannah Montana, for example. I played it. I don't even think it was a bad game. I played it, got 1,000 points off it, and then just traded it in or took it back or whatever it was. And I've played a whole host of other really stupid games that I would never have considered playing. My Horse and Me 2, for example. I think I played that, got 1,000 points off it, or close to anyway, just because of achievements. And I'm noticing now with the 360, when I'm playing these games, Summer Stars, for example, I'm doing things, I'm going after certain achievements. You'd never play that side of the game without going for achievements. You'd never try and do this one particular thing in a game without going for a specific achievement. And I'm enjoying it. I'm really liking going after it. And I'm playing through the game more than I normally would just because of achievements. And that for me is what's missing with the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. Yes, there are trophies, but I don't care about trophies because it's not something that I played in the past or grew up with. I don't have any attachment to trophies whatsoever. I see Gamerscore pop up and I get a sort of adrenaline boost, if you will. I don't know what it is. It's dopamine, I guess. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I don't need that to enjoy a game per se, but it just adds something extra to me. It's like a little bit of spice on top of the game itself. I just love it. And they both go hand in hand for me. And that's when I said to myself, I need to stop kidding myself. The thing is, and the thing that I've realized, I'm not a PlayStation player. I've never liked the controllers. I don't like the fact that the sticks are next to each other. The analog sticks always bothered me. Even back on the PS2 days, I didn't like it then. The 360 came out and honestly it changed my life. That is the best controller ever made, ever, hands down. That together with the fact that the 360 was such a great console, the achievements with it as well. I spent so long playing it, tried to get into the PS3, didn't care, went back to the 360 very quickly after the PS3's launch. I think I played like 4 hours of MotorStorm and that was probably about it, and I went back to the 360 straight away. And then when the Xbox One came out, I got that on launch. I didn't get a PS4, I think ever actually. I don't think I owned one through that sort of life cycle. And then when the new consoles came out, I bought a PlayStation. Why? Well, the only reason was because I knew someone who had or was getting a PlayStation 5 and we could sort of game share. And at the time I wasn't really playing much of anything other than FIFA, and that was the only thing in my mind was, well, I need this for work purposes, for content, so I'll just get a PS5. And that's kind of why I've not really bothered with any other games. If I'd got an Xbox Series X, for example, I think it would have been a different story. One of the reasons that put me off wanting to collect for the Xbox One and the Series X, despite having an Xbox One every now and again through this series and then eventually selling it, is mainly because, again, that sort of stigma of Xbox One and Series X games are worthless. They're never going to be worth money, so why would you collect for it? That's been said to me an awful lot of the time. The value is in PlayStation. They will always have value. Look at the PS4. Yes, there are some cheap games, but most of them have value and some of them go up stupid amounts. Xbox is never going to have that, and for some reason in the back of my mind I kept thinking, yeah, you're right, that's why I won't bother, and I don't want people criticizing me for collecting this game or for that platform or whatever. But I want to play Xbox One and Series X games. Yes, okay, a lot of them are available on PlayStation. I don't enjoy playing them on there. I want to play them on the Xbox. It's a very long-winded explanation here, but I feel like it's needed so I can refer people back to it. I want what I want, and if you want to collect sealed games and never open them, that's up to you. If you want to collect games and never play them, that's entirely up to you. I'm not going to bash it. I don't understand it, but that's not for me to criticize. So I want to play Xbox One and Series X games. I don't really care too much about PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 games, bar the odd exclusive. So I made a decision. That decision is to trade in or sell off anything I don't care about. The majority of my PlayStation 4 games, the majority of my PlayStation 5 games. I'm only going to keep what is exclusive to the PlayStation or what is, for some reason, far more expensive on the Xbox than it is on the PlayStation. So, as an example, I think Sifu is more expensive on the Xbox than it is on the PlayStation. I already have it on the PlayStation. It's in really good condition, so I'm going to keep it on the PS5 for the time being. If I can ever pick one up on the Xbox, I might look into selling my PlayStation 1, and that's probably going to be the only exception. And of course, any Wii games I have, they're gone. I'm going to keep my Wii console for now because it's not really worth anything anyway, so I'll just keep it just in case. But the majority, if not all of my Wii games, I'm going to sell them. I'll update you as and when I sell the bundles. They've been listed on Vinted for a while. They're not really worth an awful lot. I think I sold a Resi 4 the other day or the other week. All of the Wii U, of course, is already gone. I will talk about Switch, what I have left for the Switch, etc. in a future video. It's not really relevant right now. It doesn't matter too much. But I know I've been banging on about achievements and I can't get on with the PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. But believe it or not, I have actually played and completed a fair few games on the Switch because it just has a different feel to it. And of course, there are games there, a lot of games there actually, that you can't get on any other platform. You know, your first party Mario's, Yoshi's, for example. But I mean, that's where I played and completed Untitled Goose Game and Arcade Paradise and Lonely Mountains Downhill, which I absolutely love. But I'll talk about that in the future. So for right now anyway, the plan is going to be to bin off 90% of my PlayStation collection when it comes to games. The PlayStation 5 I'm going to keep, obviously, because I do need a way to play these games that I'm going to keep. You know, games like The Last Guardian, Horizon, Zero Dawn, and all the rest of them that I haven't played, and I will eventually get round to dabbling with, of course. But those are the games I'm going to keep. I'm going to keep the PlayStation 5, but now I need an Xbox. I've been going on about it for a while. I need a One X or a Series X. I didn't know which one to go for. I thought the One X would be a good idea. It's a much cheaper option. I saw one on eBay for about 75. Well, I sent the guy a message and said, what's the lowest you'd accept? And he said 75, and I sent the offer, and in the sort of 2 or 3 hours it took for him to answer, I changed my mind, and I decided if you're going to do it right. So I bought this. This was a very long-winded affair. It was meant to be delivered at a certain time. I went out to pick up a parcel and they tried to deliver it when I was out. So I just had to go to town to pick it up and lug it all the way home. This thing is heavy. What is it? I think you can probably guess, but we're going to open it together. I was hoping they wouldn't do that. They've basically just wrapped the actual box in bubble wrap and that was it. I was kind of hoping they would put it in a box. I hope it's not damaged. It's an Xbox Series X. So the box has definitely seen better days, and that's because they decided it would be a good idea to ship it as is, just a bit of bubble wrap. Not ideal, however, you don't really play the box. I can't say I'm a massive fan of the way that they've done this. This is from a second-hand game store up north. I think they're called Tynes Bargains or something. Ironically, I was watching a program the other day and some guy went into a shop and it was called Tynes Bargains. I was like, surely it's not. It is the same one. So it does come obviously boxed, as you can see. The console itself, we do have power on the floor and a the official HDMI cable, not that it really makes a difference which HDMI cable you have. And of course we do have a controller, which is the official Xbox Series controller that came with the console originally. It is a little bit grubby on one of the sticks, like something on there. The battery compartment looks clean, and then the console itself, my god, that's heavy. I've never seen one of these up close. I've never really seen them in videos or anything. That's so heavy. Oh my god. Jesus wept. There is actually an instruction manual in there. I'm sure I won't need it. And there is the console itself. I actually can't get over how heavy that is compared to the PlayStation. There is some dust on the fans on the inside. And then of course the security seal on the back is intact. Looks good. It's never been opened as far as I can tell anyway. There is an awful lot of dust on the inside there. I am going to need to maybe not take it apart necessarily, but sort of try and clean that if I can. It looks a lot better in there now, to be fair. It doesn't smell smoky, which is the important thing, of course. And there is quite a lot of dust on the top there on the fan. But for the most part, anyway, the thing I need to do now is plug this bad boy in and see if it actually works. And then we'll talk money. So obviously, I'm going to need to do a little bit more testing because it's literally just giving me the configuration page here. But as you can see, it's powered up and I mean, it's coming on at least. So displays a picture, the controller powers on as well. That's what powered on the console in the first place. I'll do a little bit more testing and I'll let you know how I get on. But at the moment, I imagine this is going to be fine. How much did that Series X cost me, I suppose, is the question. Because we're about to deduct a hell of a lot of money off this series. Because I've added the Wii U money, I feel a lot happier that I've bought this console now. Because when I originally bought it, I didn't really think about the fact that I'd sold the Wii U. Because like I said, I've sold it a long time ago. Just didn't mention it. The Xbox I bought on eBay. It was from a company called Time Bargains, which, as I mentioned, have, I think, 3 brick and mortar stores. It cost me, including postage, £279.30. That may sound like a lot, but when you consider the fact that CEX charge nearly £104 more for exactly what I've got here, and I do have some sort of warranty as well. It's not going to be the 24 months that CEX give me, but as they have a brick and mortar store, and I have, technically speaking, a receipt here, and eBay are pretty good, up to 90 days anyway, so I'm going to have the best part of 3 months to work out if there's any problems with this. Past that, I'm kind of on my own, sure, but that's fine. So long as it works and I can get it online and it's not banned or anything, it reads discs, etc., I'm sure it'll be fine and I'll get on with it. So given the fact that I've just spent 280 quid, best part of, on a Series X, that does leave us with less cash than what we started with. But because we've sold that Wii U, I'm in a much better position than I thought I was going to be, given the fact that I didn't really have enough cash to buy this when I first did it, and it just so happens that I worked out that, oh yeah, I've sold this. And it also means now, of course, that I will continue to add credit and cash to the series as and when I trade in and sell off parts of my collection. As I've mentioned already, I will continue to pick up exclusives, that being PS4 and PS5, but for right now, my main focus is going to be the Mega Drive, the Xbox 360, and the Xbox One / the Series X. This is my pitiful collection as things stand. I have mainly Call of Duty, and then I do have Deadlight, which is a very good game, and I've already played it, and then I have NBA 2K19, which was left over from like a couple of pickups that I had that wasn't really worth trading, and then I have a sealed copy of NBA 2K Playground 2 that I picked up in a boot sale maybe for like 2 or 3 quid, and that's it. I don't know if it'll be in the next episode, but I will take in a whole host of PlayStation 4 games, and I'll show you on screen right now the games I'm going to either trade in. If they're not worth trading, I will look to sell them, and I know I'll get more money if I just decide to sell them rather than trade them in, but for the sake of ease of convenience, content, and the fact that I can just go and pick up other games straight away without having to try and look for the bargain or order them or whatever, I'm going to just trade them wherever possible. The games that are not worth trading, I'll keep or sell, and then we'll use the cash to maybe go on a bit of a game hunt, something of that nature. I'm focused now. I know what I want to do. There are loads of games I want to play, and being driven by the fact that I have achievements alongside it, I'm very, very happy with where I am. I'm actually looking forward to playing games. Whereas over the last couple of years, I've only really been interested in the odd game here or there. Now when I look through CEX's website to see what my local has in stock, for example, I'm like, oh, I need to get that. I want to play that. I want to play that. I was never like that with the PlayStation, ever. And it just goes to show that you just need to collect what you want to collect, and this won't be the same for everyone. If you make YouTube videos, you are going to be partly influenced by your viewers and the comments that you receive, and that's definitely what happened to me. It just felt like I needed anything and everything. I had a Vita at once upon a time, played it for emulation purposes, didn't own one single game, had no interest in it. At the end of the day, this is sort of my collection journey, if you will. This is the collection that I'm building. I've never been more excited in this series to actually start collecting and playing these games as I have been right now. This second, the excitement on getting that console and to start playing games on it properly and to enjoy myself playing these games, that's what I've been craving for the last 2-3 years, and it's something that I've missed and I didn't know why, and it was because I didn't have the right system. In the next video, I think I've got a lot of pickups to show you, but like I mentioned, the credit is skewed and we're going to need to sort that out, but I do have quite a lot of things coming from Vinted, more CEX pickups to show you, and I need to start building this Xbox One and Series X library. The next video won't be too far away, so look out for that. If you want to check out the last video I did, you can click here, and until the next time, goodbye.